Hi everyone, welcome to Oracle Database World. Today, we're going to talk to you about enterprise class low code using Oracle Apex. My name is Shakib Rahman, and together with me is my colleague Sharon Kennedy. We are both part of the Oracle Apex development team, and we're going to talk to you about how you can use Apex to build enterprise class applications. And we're also going to talk about a case study of how we work together to build an application that is very relevant in today's time. So let's get started. First, I want to talk to you about enterprise application development. Really, what does application development look like in the enterprise? So first, I would describe it as very expensive. It's too expensive. Really, every line of code that you write, there's a cost associated with that line of code. You have to author it, debug it, tune it, review it, manage it, upgrade it. And the bigger the task, the more people involved, the more complexity, and the more overhead. Full stack developers are expensive too. Then it's too slow, and this is hand in hand with too expensive. Your development processes need to be able to adapt to ever-changing requirements, right? The days of waterfall development where you have all the requirements up front, those are over. And if you're not iterative enough and if you're not flexible enough, then you're not going to be on time. And that means that if you're not on time, it's very likely that the business needs are not met. So application development is already slow. It's expensive. There's also minimal collaboration. What this means is that there's very little collaboration between the people that are developing the applications, between the product managers and the project managers, the business users and the end users. So end users are generally represented by business users. Business users work with the analysts to gather requirements. Requirements are fed to IT managers. IT managers get requirements to their developers, and then they build. And there's really no easy partnership here, right? And what happens is that this minimal collaboration often results in a backlog. In fact, there's almost always a significant backlog. Enhancements to existing applications, new applications that are not being developed, small problems never really being attacked because there's so many big problems to deal with. And it's too expensive to dedicate your talented, your expensive resources on these small problems. So applications are never really written for them. So you know what happens next, right? Well, business will always find a way to solve the problem. And they will oftentimes solve the problem with the wrong tools. For example, how many times have you seen an Excel spreadsheet lived way beyond its meaningful life, and now it's sent over email, it's all over the place, it's permeated everywhere, and there's too many copies around, right? It's hard to maintain data validity and so on. And this is where low code can provide some answers. So first, let's understand what is low code. If you were to look this up on Wikipedia, it would say something like this. A low-code development platform is software that provides an environment for programmers to create applications using a graphical user interface or configuration instead of traditional computer programming. So using a UI and configuration to build applications. So you're not writing a lot of code. You're not doing it the traditional way where you have to write every single thing that's in your application. You're simply using a UI to graphically arrange your layout, your page, drag and drop, and then you're using configuration of attributes on your page to determine the flow and use of your application. In other words, here are some attributes of low-code development. So first, there's an easy on-ramp, meaning it's fast to get started. You don't have to be an expert to start building applications, right? You can get started right away. It should be super productive. And what this means is that with minimal effort, you should be able to employ feature-rich components in your application. It should be accessible to more than just the highly trained and expensive full-stack development staff. It broadens the pool of people in your organization that can build applications and solve business problems. It's got to provide scalable solutions, right? And there's performance implications, but I also mean that it's unbounded. It's unconstrained. You're not living in a box. Most low-code applications start as a spreadsheet. And what happens is that these spreadsheet applications grow in complexity and they grow in the breadth of functionality. Low-code solutions are flexible, meaning that you're not constrained by the box that you're in, right? Not only can you scale up to wider functionality and more users, but you can also extend your platform and your applications with custom functionality that's not available out of the box. So every business has custom requirements, custom rules, custom business flows, and any functionality that's not available out of the box, you can, load some third-party code or build your own custom code, whatever it is, to extend that platform to do that custom thing. Finally, it's all about delivering rich functionality with less code, right? You want to do this with minimal effort and minimal code. Gartner says that by 2024, which is just a few short years away, low-code application development will be responsible for more than 65% of application development activity. This is a vast majority of applications being developed will be built using low-code technologies. So why would they want to do that? Why would they say this, right? And why would you want to use low-code? And the benefits are quite enormous. First, you can build applications faster, right? With low-code solutions, it takes less effort to build these applications, so you're able to deliver much faster than competing technologies. The other aspect of this is you can deliver greater quality and consistency. You can deliver higher quality applications, and these platforms generally promote consistency across all the developed applications. So when you use a component on your application, your pages, it's the same component used over and over again with different configurations. This allows you to reduce your development costs, right? You don't need to write a lot of code. You don't need to have as many full stack developers working on these solutions. And therefore, you can build applications at a much lower overhead. And finally, you can focus on business problems, right? You can focus on solving the business problem rather than all the other code required to solve problems, to build applications. For example, you don't have to write code for interacting with the database, for managing your session state, for monitoring your applications, your security settings, your user interface. All of these facets of application development, which I'll get into in a bit later, all of these are taken care of for you, and you can concentrate on solving the business issues. And Gartner says that the reason why someone would choose low-code platforms are because of compelling productivity gains and speed of delivery benefits. So productivity and speed of development. And this is where I'd like to talk to you about Oracle Apex. We have been delivering the benefits of low-code using Apex for many, many years. Apex is a low-code platform that enables you to build scalable, secure enterprise applications without you needing to be an expert in vast web technologies in order to build sophisticated solutions, right? Focus on the problem at hand and let Apex do the rest. Apex is the world's most popular low-code platform. It's easy to learn and get started. It's SQL and REST friendly. You have the ability to build responsive and mobile applications. It's free with all Oracle databases, so you can run it on Oracle XE, all the way to our autonomous database on our cloud services, Exadata Cloud Service, for example. There are global success stories across all industries, and it's loved by an enthusiastic, vibrant global community of over 500,000 developers. Using Apex, you can develop applications. Typically people build responsive web applications. You can build applications that visualize and manage the data that you have. And you can apply any kind of SQL and database capabilities. Really, if you think about it, Apex is a very thin veneer on top of your database. So any database capabilities, such as spatial or text or JSON database, machine learning, analytic functions, all of these things are available to you natively within your applications. So it's really quite interesting that you can take full advantage of these native capabilities of the Oracle database. The Apex approach is also quite simple. It's a matter of developing the application, customizing it, iterating it, and then simply delivering it. So there's pre-built controls for security, for authentication, for interacting with your database, for validations, for session state management, in addition to all of the breadth of functionality and components you can use within your application that you can use to go from prototype to production in really a matter of minutes. So what is Apex used for? If you look at the industry, there are a few common use cases that are quite popular. The first one is simply taking spreadsheets and building them into web applications. And you can do this in minutes, right? Simply drag and drop an Excel spreadsheet, an XLS, even an XML or JSON format, and you can create an application in no time. You can create a table, build an application on this, and now you have a single source of truth, right? You can send a URL out to anybody that you want. You can set up, access control. You can hook it up to single sign-on, and you can extend this application with charts, calendars, custom validations, custom displays, whatever you like. And now you've got a single application that's anyone can use. Another very common use case is opportunistic application development, right? Or rapid application development. This is when you need to build an application right away for a need that arose very recently. And many customers, they are struggling to get the most out of the data that they have. They're able to use Apex, use its powerful wizards, and build applications, meet changing requirements, and have solutions, provide solutions that provide a simplistic, tactical application to meet the problem of hand, right? Solve the problem of the day, webify a paper process. These applications can be developed by one or two people, and you'd be amazed at how far you can go. The next thing I want to talk to you about is modernizing forms applications. So Apex is the natural evolution of Oracle Forms. They're both based on SQL and PL SQL technologies that enables you to reuse your database packages, procedures, functions. You can easily train your forms developers into developing with Apex. And this allows you to build proof of concept apps using a subset of form applications. You can build organization-wide applications. You can build mobile-first applications, and you can solve, apps used for net new requirements. Apex is also used to extend enterprise systems. All commercial off-the-shelf software, all ERPs, there's gaps, right? Apex has been used to extend cloud ERPs, Fusion applications, EBS, commercial off-the-shelf applications, and software to streamline your business processes. You can provide organization-specific dashboards, workflows, meet non-standard requirements, enhance data capture, whatever you like. It's a very common use case. And finally, you can use Apex to build mission-critical applications. This means that you're able to build custom applications. Maybe you have to do corporate data reporting and maintenance. You can merge data silos or take data from multiple sources, put them into a single application for reporting. And you can build organization-wide such applications as well. And the benefit of this is that you have a single deployment, a simple installation that can run any number of applications. You can scale to hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of users. And it leverages all of the enterprise capabilities of the Oracle database. So those are some common use cases, but what can Apex do for you? Well, if you're looking at an Apex application, it may look pretty simple, right? It looks like any other application out there, but it's a facade. If you look behind the scenes, you will notice that in order to deliver an Apex application, there is a wealth of functionality that is provided for you. For example, to deliver any quality app for the enterprise, you have to take into account the following facets: user experience and user interface. You have to provide a fully customizable and responsive design UI that can be customized to fit your own brand's personality. Data access, so you can, access data in your database, access remote data, and build applications where you can plug and play your own APIs and do whatever you like. There's a wealth of rich visualizations and charts and functionality that's out of the box, so you can build dashboards. Security, so you can create secure applications by default, and as the security landscape changes, Apex also changes, and we improve Apex to accommodate for that as well. There's full globalization support, so you can really build applications for a truly global audience, including even bi-directional support. So you have a single application that can be used by audiences that use English, for example, and also by another subset of your audience that's using Arabic or Hebrew, where the entire UI will flip right to left. There's also performance and monitoring and debugging and many other facets. All of these are important to any application you build, and we have proven this time and time again with thousands and thousands of customers. Now, Forrester says that low-code development is about 10 times faster than traditional methods. We like to say that Apex is 20 times more productive than hand coding. And this is really what embodies the message of low code. Now, 20 times productive is a bold statement, but we think it's an understatement. Countless customers have told us that they were able to build in weeks or days what would have otherwise taken months and months. And these are smart, full-stack professional developers. For example, to author a report in Apex, you simply need to provide a simple SQL statement or simply select a table or view that your data is in. That's all. In order to do the same thing with JavaScript, you'll have to find the appropriate library, make sure it's vetted, that it's, there's no CVEs around it, build all the APIs, write the hook code, the glue code, and then finally you have something. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If your strategic direction is JavaScript, the world's is, but not everybody's a JavaScript programmer either. And with Apex, you don't have to be one in order to build compelling solutions. We commissioned a study, a time and motion study, to really check how fast Apex development is compared to the leading JavaScript framework. So React.js was put to the test against Apex from a developer that was a React JavaScript expert and an Apex novice. And we asked them to build two applications. One that's building an interactive grid that allows you to edit your data. So you have a tabular form, you have fields you can go modify. And the second application was a faceted search style reporting application. And if you had to build the same applications from scratch, how would that process look like? And they found that Apex was 38 times faster in development compared to React. And you can read the full study on apexoracle.com. The key value proposition of low code is that it's faster. Less code is less time, less complexity, and less cost. There's less technical debt. You can spend less time on technical implementation and more time on solving the problem and going to the next problem. With that being said, I'd like to move on to the real world use case. So one thing that Sharon and I worked on together was a system for the CDC called vSafe. And this was there to solicit survey responses to understand the safety of COVID-19 vaccines. So I'll pass it over to Sharon and she'll go into all the details.
Thank you, Shakib. Shakib and I had the honor of working on vSafe for the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention over the last year. vSafe is an application that monitors the safety of the COVID-19 vaccinations being administered within the United States. It is an instance of a larger application that Oracle has created, which is being used by other countries for vaccine and health management, not just limited to COVID-19. CDC asked Oracle to build a smartphone-based application. Gotta love the tagline, get vaccinated, get your smartphone, get started with vSafe. The basic premise of vSafe is to monitor the safety of the COVID-19 vaccinations. Because the United States is not using a central system for vaccine scheduling and administration, users are asked to register online, provide the details of their vaccination, and they then begin receiving health check-ins, which are surveys asking how they are reacting to the vaccine. The registration process is very simple, keeping information at the most minimal. No app to download, no password to remember. Provide your name, cell phone number, date of birth, and sex, and we send you a verification code to ensure that your cell number is valid and in your possession. Once verified, we ask you to provide your vaccination details. Knowing your vaccination date, manufacturer, and dose number allows us to send a link to the proper survey each day, week, or month, depending upon where you are in your vaccine cycle. We have different surveys based on manufacturer and age so that we can prompt you for additional doses at the proper time. We also support registering dependents so that you can take surveys on behalf of your children or someone else in your care. The surveys are simple and straightforward and always start by asking, how are you feeling today? Our goals were lofty. First and foremost, the application and the data collected needed to be secure. It also needed to be mobile first, easy to use, available in multiple languages, and scalable. vSafe supports Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean, simplified Chinese, as well as English. There is no software to download, no password to remember. We push reminders to you. No action is needed by the user after entering vaccine information. We had a very compressed timeline. Because we had been working on a larger health management system, we were able to quickly dive into the vSafe specific requirements. We met with the CDC daily to review and demo progress to get feedback. This allowed iterative development to the point where surveys were expanded once the capabilities were first demonstrable, like adding the much-loved engagement question, how are you feeling today? Because we provided an early UAT environment, we were able to add additional capabilities and refine the back office experience. We went live the evening of December 13th, 2020, to meet the December 14th first administration of vaccines here in the United States. We currently have over 10 million verified registrants who have submitted over 125 million health check-ins. During peak vaccination in the spring of 2021, we had over 1 million active users per day. The data collected by vSafe allows CDC to monitor the safety of these vaccines in near real time. CDC contacts registrants with severe adverse reactions and files formal reports with the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System known as VAERS. We helped to facilitate the pregnancy registry, which was able to show that vaccines were safe for pregnant women, and recently added dose 3 information to help with FDA approvals for expanded boosters. We have also added surveys to facilitate other adjunct studies. The architecture of vSafe is simple and database forward, although a bit more complex than this diagram. End users access the application via a web browser on their phone, where ORDS manages the interaction with the Oracle database and Apex installed within. We have a messaging service that pushes notifications out to our users to ask them to take their daily, weekly, monthly surveys, as well as to remind them when it's time for their second dose. Back office users access different applications, but use the same infrastructure to view summary data and charts, as well as to do data downloads of the different data sets of interest. For end users, we used forms, reports, and global items to share data across applications. For back office users, we use summary reports, filter reports, and charts. This is an example of a back office dashboard that we use to monitor the health of the system. As anyone that does application development knows, the end user screens tend to be the minority of the work. Making a system configurable, monitorable, and manageable requires so much more. Circling back to where we began, why Oracle Apex? Well, we had a very short time frame, so this was not a time to test out new technologies. We needed powerful SQL capabilities, both for end user data capture, but more so for back office reporting. All data stays confidential and private, with security measures appropriate for the data's level of sensitivity. The applications are fully metadata driven using world-class components. Apex runs inside the Oracle database, which eliminates complexity. We essentially have been crowdsourcing vaccine safety data, and it has been extremely successful. We empowered people to help themselves and help others, and we did it all using Oracle and Apex. Visit apex.oracle.com to learn more about Apex and sign up for a free service so you can start coding today. Thank you.